It was the government of Florence that encouraged this growth in art and learning. Italy was split up in what are known as city-states. These are small areas that have their own leaders like a country. They could have a king, but some, like Florence, were ruled as republics. These city-states often struggled with each other for power. Interestingly, the people inside the city-states also struggled to control them. The key family in Florence were the Medicis.
In this thriving place of commerce and beauty, one family stands at the center. A family whose importance to Leonardo will grow as he matures. The Medici.
The Medicis are in charge of Florence because they were the bankers early on, and they gained control of Florence. And even though it was a republic and somebody should be voting for them, they controlled all the votes.
The Medici, rich and very powerful, are the most important patrons of the arts in Florence. Yet in spite of their power, the Medici bankers can never rest easy. Assassination is common, as rival banking families compete for the city's wealth.
If you look at some of these paintings just of the Renaissance leaders, they're wearing what looks like studs on their clothing. No, they're wearing cloth-covered armor.
L'interesse è difficoltoso, come avevamo discusso.
E allora onoratelo col vostro sigillo.
They're scared to death that they're going to get knifed in the streets. The Medicis keep a poisoner on staff at all times. I mean, what's going on?
Even as the Medici family patriarch, Piero de' Medici lay dying, enemies plot to steal control of his family's fortune.
Piero, ti senti un po' meglio?
Solo la morte può recarmi conforto adesso.
All the wealth and prestige of the Medici could quickly come undone as plots against their very lives are quietly prepared. As young Leonardo da Vinci arrives in Florence to establish a career, Florence finds itself at the brink of violence. The ruling family of Florence gathers at the deathbed of the patriarch, Piero de' Medici. Great danger awaits his son Lorenzo, only 20, as the rival banking family, the Pazzis, plot against him.
Questa è la mia ultima volontà per te, Lorenzo. Devi guidare questa casata e guidare Firenze. Nessun altro può farlo. Devi stare attento, molto attento.
The Pazzi and Medici problems were problems of business. We don't think the business might end up in murder. Maybe not the business outside of the underworld or the Sopranos or something along those lines, but this is what was happening. If you were a leader, your life was in danger.
The Pazzi family hungers for the Medici's power and wealth. They will do anything to seize it for themselves. But dark days are just beginning in Florence. Political storm clouds gather as deadly forces move against the Medici. Florence is nearly surrounded by the territories of the Pope, which extends south to the city-state of Naples and north to Ferrara. But this realm is not enough for the avaricious Pope Sixtus IV. The Pope conspires to expand his power into northern Italy, into the lands held by the Medici. To break the Medici stronghold, Sixtus finds an eager ally in rival banker Francesco de' Pazzi.
Ed io, Francesco de' Pazzi, presterò a voi I soldi necessari ad estendere le terre papali.
The Pope transfers his accounts into the coffers of the Pazzi family bank. But the Pazzi want more than the papal account. They want the Medici out of the way. Forever.
The Medicis needed money in their banking system. The Pazzis needed money in their banking system. And when the two of them were vying for what little amount of money there was in Italy that was not already spoken for, that's when problems occurred. And that's when we get to violence.
It is Easter. In celebration of the Prince of Peace, the Medici take their personal seats across the aisle from the Pope's henchman, Francesco de Pazzi. They have no idea of the danger they're in. At a prearranged point in the Mass, it begins. Young Giuliano de' Medici gets stabbed savagely 19 times and bleeds to death on the cathedral floor. His wounded brother, Lorenzo, barely escapes. With the Pope behind them, the Pazzi family believe they will get away with their plot. They are dead wrong.
The Medici supporters quickly rally, and the Pazzi uprising is put down with extraordinary violence.
Lorenzo's counter-strike is swift and merciless.
We get a sense of the Medici's power in the outcome of the murder, the immediate retribution. There was no rights for the criminals. They were dispensed with, and they were dispensed with in a very public manner.
That very day, Francesco de Pazzi is hanged alongside a co-conspirator, the Archbishop of Pisa.
They drag his body around, they chop it to pieces, humiliate it in all kinds of ways. This is familiar in ways that we find hard to imagine.
But the Medici have not finished. One assassin is still at large. Weeks later, Bernardo Baroncelli, the murderer of Lorenzo's brother, is finally captured and hanged before an enthusiastic crowd.
Niccolo Machiavelli was an advisor to the Medicis. He was very interested in government and power. Machiavelli wrote a book about government called The Prince. He dedicated it to the Medici family. It was basically an instruction book on how to take and hold power. It can basically be summed up as the ends justify the means. Machiavelli argued that you do whatever you must to hold power, no matter whether it seems wrong or mean. For example, he said it was good for a leader to be feared by his people, because then they would do what he says all the time. Crazy.
Babidi boopy, beepity boopity babidi babidi, boopity bapa, boopa beepy boopa bapa beepy baba.